The 20-time Grand Slam champion Roger Federer is undoubtedly one of the most iconic names on the tennis court. The tennis champion recently revealed something shocking about his kids, leaving fans from around the world stunned. Wondering what this shocking revelation was? Well, stay tuned until the end of the video to find out. Let's begin. Firstly, Roger Federer's startling admission about his children. Federer revealed in an interview that his children had no idea about his status as one of the greatest tennis players of all time until very recently. Despite having attended many of Federer's matches, it appears the kids hadn't quite wrapped their heads around their father's success. Find out what the tennis player had to say about his children's innocence in the video ahead. What do Federer's children think about his tennis achievements? The tennis champion and his wife, Mirka, are parents to two sets of twins, two 12-year-old girls named Mila and Charlene, and two 7-year-old boys called Leo and Lenny. Both Federer's wife and kids have displayed their support for the tennis superstar on several occasions, showing their love by attending his matches and cheering him on. But it seems the kids are pretty underwhelmed by their father's tennis prowess. Federer stated in an interview that trying to introduce his kids to tennis has been a struggle. None of his kids have an interest in the game, and his wife's attempts to coach them have been to no avail. Despite their father being a tennis superstar and both parents trying to push them towards the sport, the kids remain distant. I have struggled with my children. I've tried to promote tennis at my household with playing a lot of matches against Rafa, Novak, and everybody, but my kids just don't care, he said. They need daddy home from the practice or from the matches. We tried to put a racket in their hands and a ball in the other and see what happens. You see very quickly if kids like to play with the ball or go run outside. I think you see the differences very quickly. What did Federer say about his children not knowing his stature on the tennis court? The player admitted that his children don't really know or care about his tennis talent. According to Federer, the four children didn't know just how good their father was until recently. For a long time, my four children had no idea what I had achieved during my tennis career, he said in a recent interview. It was their friends who revealed to them that I was #1 in the world. They were literally speechless. My victories have never been an important topic at home. Interestingly, Federer hasn't given up yet and promises to take it slow on his kids until they can make a decision on what's best for them. The tennis mogul hopes that one day his kids will enjoy playing tennis just as much as he does. Just keep trying, but don't become a crazy dad. Trust the coaches, see that they enjoy it, especially when they're young. But in the beginning, it's about having fun. The father of four withdrew from the 2021 French Open after suffering a knee injury, but is hopeful that he will be back on track before he officially retires. Roger's revelation came after he missed the Australian Open. The Grand Slam champion recently announced that he won't be playing in January's Australian Open as he continues his recovery from another round of knee surgery. The Swiss legend stated that he would be able to resume running in January and will return to training on the court in March or April. The 40-year-old added that he would be incredibly surprised if he was even ready for Wimbledon in July. Even before the operation, we knew that a break of many months would be necessary afterwards. I've started a long rehabilitation process in which I put all my heart and soul, but the situation is not the same as in 2016. I need to be very patient and give my knee the time to heal. Federer said that despite his love for the sport, his ability to enjoy normal life with his kids was more important to him than rushing back to tennis. I had this operation done so that I could ski with my children or play football or tennis in the future, the player said. My primary motivation was to get back in shape for my normal life, but I wanted to approach this rehabilitation with the mentality and body of a top athlete. But that's enough on the tennis champion and his kids. Time to move on to some other trending news in the world of tennis. French tennis star enraged after testing COVID positive for the 250th time. French tennis player Benoit Paire recently revealed that he has tested positive for COVID-19 ahead of next month's Australian Open. The top player was due to play as a lead in a Melbourne tournament starting on January 4th, but now all those plans have been disrupted. Paire has been quarantined in an unknown location since testing positive for COVID, and it's clear he's fed up with the ordeal. The player posted an Instagram story on Wednesday expressing his frustration. The story said, "Hello, my name is Benoit Paire, and for the 250th time, I tested positive for COVID. Honestly, I can't deal with this COVID S anymore. How am I doing? Because of COVID, I got a runny nose. But because of all these quarantines spent in a hotel room halfway across the world, I don't feel good mentally. The 32-year-old went on to say that this year was proving as tough as the last one. He also clarified that he is vaccinated and 100% in favor of vaccines. Federer has definitely been having a streak of bad luck as of late. He was ruled out of the 2020 US Open after testing COVID positive just days before his first match. Then he was forced to endure 14 days of hard quarantine earlier this year when a person on his flight to Melbourne tested positive for COVID, and now the player has once more tested positive right before the Australian Open starting on January 22nd, leaving Federer only a few weeks to test negative and become fit to play in the tournament. Will Novak Djokovic play in the Australian Open amid ATP Cup withdrawal confusion? Spain's former Davis Cup captain Emilio Sanchez has stated that there is not one chance of Novak Djokovic competing in next month's Australian Open. According to Tennis Australia, Djokovic is currently in Europe and has yet to officially withdraw from the Australian Open, which starts on January 1st. The prospect of the Serbian withdrawing from the first Grand Slam of the year has become an ongoing saga since organizers announced double vaccination against COVID-19 mandatory for players to compete. Djokovic spoke out against the regulation but did not reveal his vaccination status. His silence is now being viewed as an indicator that he is yet to receive his jabs. So unless the player is able to produce evidence of medical exemption, he will be forbidden from playing in Melbourne. The player's father, Srdan Djokovic, also spoke out against the vaccination requirement and even went as far to accuse tournament organizers of blackmail, suggesting that his son would not be at the tournament as a result. The defending champion recently withdrew from the ATP Cup, which begins in Sydney on Saturday. The 9-time Australian Open winner did not offer any explanation and has since then been replaced by Dusan Lajovic in the ATP Cup. Dominik Thiem pulls out of the Australian Open with wrist injury. Australian Dominik Thiem has pulled out of January's Australian Open due to a long-standing wrist injury. The Melbourne Park tournament begins on the 17th of January. Tournament organizers are still unsure if defending men's champion Novak Djokovic will play, while women's 2021 runner-up Jennifer Brady has also withdrawn because of a foot injury. The 28-year-old former world number 3 has not played since sustaining the injury at June's Mallorca Cup. The issue meant Thiem could not defend the US Open title he won in 2020, a month after reaching the Australian Open final. Thiem's 2022 season will start at the Cordoba Open in Argentina at the end of January. On the topic of his withdrawal, he said, "We believe this is the right decision in order to have a good return to competition." Emma Raducanu made a year to remember for British tennis. Emma Raducanu's fairy tale season has been one of the more positive stories this year. On September 12th, the British teen won the US Open, becoming the first qualifier to win a Grand Slam singles title. Born in Canada to a Romanian father and Chinese mother, Raducanu went from near obscurity to instant global fame. No easy transition for a 19-year-old. Soon after her US Open victory, Emma came down with COVID-19 in Abu Dhabi and missed the Mubadala World Tennis Championship exhibition event. But this didn't even leave a mark on her record. Adding to an already stellar 2021, she was named BBC Sports Personality of the Year and WTA Newcomer of the Year. The player is now expected to be front and center when the Australian Open kicks off on January 17th in Melbourne. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Federer's kids being ignorant of his championship status? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. We'll see you in the next one.